Hey, welcome back. This guide will focus on the hard mode version. As usual, most mechanics will be covered in a vacuum due to the randomness in some of the patterns, as well as the HP based phasing. With that said, let's begin. Once the dungeon starts, jump off the cliff and head towards the beach on your left. Follow the path up the hill until you reach the jump pad. If you want to take the kibelisk, you can either have someone grab the mobs, or someone else activates it, or reset the mobs by taking the jump pad and then coming back down to activate it. Once done, take the jump pad and glide towards the floating flowers. Use them to bounce up the platforms where you will encounter the first boss, Wise Bomb Nude. Let's cover the main mechanics first. At 75 and 25%, the boss will jump to a side of the room, leaving a small point blank AoE followed by a donut AoE where it jumped. Both of these will knock you down if you get hit by them. The boss will begin casting Undying Veil, a 5-second cast that will wipe the entire group if finished. While casting, any party member standing over 5 meters away from the boss will repeatedly get targeted by a lightning circle AoE that will stun on hit. When the cast starts, the boss stagger bar will unlock. Attacking from the front will not damage the stagger bar, but attacking from the back will. The stagger bar in itself is quite weak and will break by using a couple of stagger skills. As soon as the boss jumps to a side, every group member should rush to the back of the boss and get ready to use stagger skills. After recovering from the stagger, the boss will jump back to the center of the arena, once again leaving a point blank AoE followed by a donut AoE when doing so. From 95% onwards, the boss will intermittently target one of the 4 crystals on the edge of the arena with a very large reverse stack marker. When the attack goes off, the boss will shoot a lightning bolt that will ricochet on anybody standing inside of the circle, including other crystals as well as the boss itself, with the lightning being able to reach targets outside of the circle if 2 targets are in close enough vicinity. For the first version of the mechanic, simply go outside of the red circle to avoid damage. From 50% onwards, the boss will follow up that attack by targeting the tank with that same red circle, following the same set of rules. The correct way to solve this mechanic is to have the player targeted by the red circle go stand on top of one of the crystals, with the rest of the group going on the opposite end of the arena to avoid the lightning ricochet. In practice, however, the damage is low enough to just tank and survive, so just use mitigation and keep DPSing the boss. Do note that getting hit by the ricochet will also stun you and leave you with a stackable and undispellable damage tolerance reduction debuff. Next, let's cover filler mechanics. First, the boss can target every party member with a critical AoE 4 times in a row. Getting hit by one of these will deal moderate damage as well as stun you. Next, the boss can spawn a large amount of fast hitting small rectangle AoE all around the arena. There will be 2 sets, and getting hit by one will deal moderate damage as well as stun and root you. Next, the boss can do 2 large cleaving swipes, then turn towards a group member at random and launch roots at them that will deal heavy damage as well as stun both on the way out and back. And finally, the boss can do a point blank AoE followed by a bunch of small circle AoEs around the map. Do note that the crystal looking things that appear out of these are just effects and won't do anything. Once the boss dies, a wind stream will spawn to the right of the arena. Take it to proceed to the next area. After landing on a platform, head into the passage north and bounce on the flowers up to the next section. Follow the path to the left, activate the kibelist, then take the jump pad and glide to the platform in front of you to reach the second boss, Expanding Zyrate. Let's cover the main mechanics first. As you arrive, there will be 4 fungi around the map. Standing close to one will cover you in either red or yellow spores. Make sure to each grab one before the fight for the upcoming mechanics. Regularly throughout the fight, the boss will target each party member with 3 back-to-back circle AoEs that will leave a red or yellow spore circle on the ground. Then do 3 more a bit later of the opposite color of the first wave. Once the spores are on the ground, entering spores of your corresponding color won't harm you, but entering spores of the opposite color will afflict you with a dot and remove the puddle of the ground. There are 2 approaches to this mechanic. If your DPS is fast enough, you can just ignore the puddles, but if your DPS is on the slower side, you will actually want to cleanse a few puddles to avoid the arena becoming a mess. Just make sure to heal as needed, as the dot will take for quite a lot of damage the more stacks you have. Also, regardless of the approach, do try to leave the puddles away from the boss. Next, at 75 and 35%, the boss will jump to the middle of the room and unleash a swirl of yellow and red spore projectiles. Getting hit by a projectile of the same color as you will simply absorb it and deal no damage, but getting hit by a projectile of the opposite color will deal moderate damage as well as inflict you with a dot stack. If you have trouble avoiding the wrong projectile, disconnecting from the boss will make it a lot easier to dodge. Do note that if you die and lose your spore, you can get it back by standing next to fungi on the edge of the arena. From 50% onwards, the boss will also be able to chain 4 back-to-back quite heavy-hitting unblockable cone AoE that will push you back if you get hit by them. Do note that it is possible to get pushed off the platform. Next, let's cover filler mechanics. First, the boss can do a large cleave on the tank, followed by a large point blank AoE that will push back on hit. These have no telegraphs and can push you off the arena, so try not to keep the boss too close to the edge to avoid accidents. Next, the boss can do a small point blank AoE alongside a donut AoE, followed by 2 donut AoEs that hit the first set's safe spots. And finally, the boss can jump to a random party member, leaving a large point blank AoE white lands. Once the boss dies, a wind stream will spawn to the right of the arena. Take it to proceed to the platform in front of you, then bounce on the set of flowers to the left, up to the final Kibalisk. Take it, then proceed to the final platform and the final boss, Awakened Altern. Let's cover the main mechanics first. First, all throughout the fight, small circle AoEs will target every group member, leaving small orbs behind them. Orbs will also appear intermittently across the arena by themselves. If not taken, the boss will occasionally absorb them, giving it a damage up stack. If the boss reaches 10 stacks, it will do an AoE to wipe the group. Walking on top of the orb will absorb it and inflict a stackable dot debuff, but prevent the boss from taking it. Make sure to regularly grab them to avoid a wipe. At 65%, the boss will lock its stagger bar and jump to the middle of the room. The landing will do a point blank AoE as well as unleash a donut AoE, both of which will put you in an ether hold state if you get hit by them. The eastern and western segment of the arena will then get covered by a lingering AoE that rapidly drains your health if you stand inside of it. Clones of the boss will then repeatedly spawn and dash in alternating sets of 3 and 2, perpendicular to the lingering AoE, with the second set dashing in the first set's safe spot. The boss will also repeatedly mark group members at random and dash towards them. At 50%, the boss will add slow-moving jumpable lightning ropes that sweep the arena back and forth, as well as large lightning orbs that will act as proximity mines that launch a plus-shaped AoE when stepped on. At the end of the phase, all of the large orbs will explode in a wide point-blank AoE at once, leaving small orbs on the ground afterwards. So force triggering them one by one during the phase is a good idea to avoid bad overlaps later on. At 35%, the boss will lock its stagger bar and jump to the middle of the arena once again, doing a large point blank on the landing spot as well as a large donut AoE. The sweeping line will disappear, and the boss will also cover the north and south sides of the arena with the same lingering AoE, leaving only a square safe at the center of the arena. Several crystal pillars will spawn at semi-random across the arena, and the boss will begin targeting random party members one after the other with the dash marker. If the boss dashes on a pillar, that pillar will explode for heavy damage and increase the boss stack count by 3. 2 pillars at once will cause a wipe. There will be 4 dashes in total, and the pillar layout will change halfway through the mechanic. The easiest way to solve this mechanic is to drag the boss to a corner of the square, then have it repeatedly dash across that corner by having every group member tuck themselves as far as possible into the corner. The position of the dash snapshots as soon as the member gets marked and is also accompanied by this sound cue. As soon as the mark and the sound appear, move out of the way of the dash, then back into the corner until all 4 dashes are done. After the dashes, the boss will jump back to the middle of the room. If the stack count exceeds 10, the boss will become untargetable and wipe the group. If it's below 10, the boss will get staggered. There will be leftover orbs in the arena that appear during the mechanic, so make sure to also grab them before the boss absorbs them. Do note that as of the making of this video, there is currently what is assumed to be a bug that will make the boss repeat this phase if the marked player dies before the dash happens. After the stagger, the boss will repeat the second phase of the fight with all 4 sides being covered in the lingering AoE, and with dashes that can also come from all 4 corners in an X shape until the end of the fight. Next, let's cover full mechanics. First, the boss can cleave the tank twice and do a horn sweep followed by a point blank AoE, then a tail sweep. These are not telegraphed and will do moderate damage. Next, the boss can do a small point blank AoE with 2 donut AoEs, followed by 3 donut AoEs that will cover the previous set's safe spot. Finally, the boss can jump on a random party member, leaving a large point blank AoE while it jumps, then a donut AoE. Getting hit by one will deal moderate damage and put you in an ether hold state. And that will be everything for Awakened Altern, as well as Azure Breath Island. Kill the boss and collect your rewards. As always, I hope this video will prove useful to you. If it does, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Footage was taken from my live stream. I stream this game several times a week on both Twitch and YouTube, so make sure to swing by and say hi. Until next time, take care.